All right, welcome to another Sunday morning jam session. What I did here was I got a panel that I cut out on the plasma cutter table. So I did a quick little pinstripe shape, cut it out of a 080 aluminum, and then painted it flat black like normal. Put a cool little hot rod image on here on my laser engraver, and now we're gonna drop some pinstripe on it to make a cool little hot rod wall art piece. So as usual, we're gonna use one-shot paint. I got reflex blue, light blue, a little bit of this medium gray, and some white, polar white actually, yeah. The chroma flow, a little bit of thinner in case we gotta clean the brush. And today we're gonna use a Kafka Zero again, just because it flows really good. I like that brush. So what we'll do first is we already started loading it up, so that way it gets the hairs used to the paint a little bit. I feel like when I'm out in the field striping, I like to load my brush up and let them kind of sit in the paint. I feel like it gives it a little better flow. If you notice, when you first start, the brushes tend to be a little stiff feeling, and then as the day goes on, progresses a little bit, you end up pulling a little bit smoother. It feels, could be mental, but to me that's what it seems to do. So we load our brush up here, get a nice little, I'm feeling for that awesome smoothness that if you do this you'll know what I'm talking about. And it still feels a little tight. One of these days I should make a video explaining what you're actually feeling for people who are just starting out, because that's one of the trickiest things. I'm going to pull like a little line here to see what it feels like, and I see that it still needs a little of this flow, chroma flow. Kind of retards the drying time, but really helps the paint go nice and smooth. Alright, so we're really good. Take a step back. Remember, I don't really plan this out, I kind of just go, so we'll start here at the tip. Yeah, that's flowing really, really good. And we got a weird shape here, so kind of got a sort of flow, and we're going to try to do one of the, like a classic pinstripe design anyway, even though it has like a weird bend to it. Yeah, I really want to do like the normal old school looking stripe on here, because we got a nice old T-bird engraving on here. So not T-bird, sorry, Model T. So try to drop some really cool standard pinstripe look. That actually looks really good for this right here. We'll just use the other colors on there. So I'm going to flip this over really quick so we can go on the other side, and we'll build this way. A little more chroma flow. So I'm trying to build off of a center line on here, even though it has a very swoopy shape. I think the center line will bring it all together. We got a little bit dry right there, so we'll load up the brush again and we'll pull right over that. You see, I'm adding a little bit of chroma flow every single time. I got it pretty hot today in the studio, so it's kind of drying up pretty good. It's like one of those nice summer days in the sun in here. Again, we concentrate on breathing. The more you do this, the more comfortable you'll feel with breathing while you're doing it. Okay, so yeah, see, that's looking really neat. I think I'm gonna do like a little kind of diamond in here just to extend that. To the very edge. And yeah, that looks actually really cool right now. I'm gonna go do a little piece up top a little bit. Got a little bit of space that we can fill up. I'll do one of these pull thin and then dip and pull to a point again. I don't know if you saw, maybe you can get in a little tighter and see it kind of down. Do my swoop, and as I'm swooping, I'll pull it up to get on the very tip and then plunge it down again to get back in the brush and then pull out a tip. It gives it a cool feel. And then we'll pull like one of these guys to bring it together with the other side. So right there, we're pretty good. We'll grab our cup of thinner. I'm going to change out colors, so we got to clean it. All right. Just give it a rinse. Get your paper towel. And we'll swap this back around. And this should be dry enough. It's pretty warm in here, so again, with the chroma flow, this time we'll go into this really deep blue. The reflex blue looks really cool over black. Try to get a little load on there. Again, it's consistency. We're trying to feel that normal feel that we get once the brush is loaded. So this paint was sitting out just a little bit, so it has started to skin. So let's see what, oh yeah, that's starting nice, cool. Might need a little bit more, but right now we can see what happens when we touch down. So we're gonna look and we'll figure out what we're gonna do, right? That's what we end up. I never really plan this out. I feel like it looks better if you don't. I don't know. I guess some people plan it. And I guess the bad part of not planning it is sometimes you mess up. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with your shapes and how your hand moves. So again, I'm going to do something. You have to really get comfortable with this, like where you're changing directions. um, especially when we're working on cars and stuff, because you won't be able to flip the car over because your hand doesn't move that way. So we're just trying to follow like the shape. I mean, it's not totally detrimental. It usually looks good almost no matter what you do, as long as you have solid line work. When you're doing one of these panels that kind of swoop like this, it's kind of messes up your eye. You're used to making everything exact on the same on each side, so it kind of messes with you to try to follow a shape and make sure that you're doing what you normally do. We'll pull like a little. And that's really it. We just keep building and building and building. I'm going to go over this tail by doing one of these guys over the blue that I already put, just because I wanted some of this blue down here and it's running really thin. So it looks like that's pretty good. We'll swap it over again, work on the other side. A little more chroma flow. Well, let's go to work here. Trying to look at the other side just to see what I did. I guess it technically doesn't matter. So we have a different shape on this side, so I'll go similar and change it a little bit just to bring the body of the shape out. Looking really good, this little hot rod piece. Now we'll do again so it matches. Let's go up here. You know, when you're working free like this is when you really end up figuring out your style, how your hand works best and what kind of pulls. So I encourage you to just try. I mean, everybody wants to start with having like some guidelines and some baselines, but just do that enough where you feel comfortable with what you're doing with your shapes, and then just start free going and see how it turns out. Worst case scenario, we can wipe it off, right? Again, we're going to do that backward swoop just to bring it in. That's looking really cool. Let's do the standard. Here, zoom in on here. I didn't show on the video. I talked about it, but I didn't show. So this is how you do those dots. Look, I'm like getting a ball of paint on the end, and I'm gonna dop it off just so that it's not like too much. And then if you zoom in on here, we'll actually place some dots, and you see it automatically will get smaller and smaller as you go. Now this paint is a little bit thicker, but because you're taking the paint off as you go, it's gonna create like a tapered dot on each succeeding dot, right? Because you're taking a little bit and a little bit and a little bit of paint off every single time. That doesn't need any. I'll clean this off and we'll throw some of this light blue on here. Yeah, it's pretty warm in here. We're skinning up like crazy, so let's do like here. That way you can really see what that's doing, I would imagine, because it's a little bit lighter. And you see it tapers and tapers. Oh, I'm going to put a couple at the end of here because that'll be cool. A little more paint and we'll do one right here. That way you should really get a nice view of how that works. And look how cool that looks. That's actually really cool, but I think I'm going to do a little bit of the gray. Actually looks really cool just like this. You know what? This looks good enough to sign and be done. You know, sometimes customers will be like, oh, you should do more, but you really have to know when it's good, right? I mean, if you take and look at this, this is done. It's completely full. It's got really nice work on it, and it's beautiful. So I'll do a couple nice photos to fold in here so you can see, but that's pretty much it. Sunday morning jam session complete.